Hey budget friends, it's Steph with Stefsonabudget. Welcome back for another video. I have been looking forward to doing this one for weeks now, and I was actually hoping to do it sooner because I'm quickly approaching needing my new budget binder. But we are going to go ahead and set up our budget book for 2026. One of my favorite videos to do, one of my favorite things to set up. So I am super excited to get into this with you guys. So you might be thinking, it's November, Stephanie. What are we doing? We're like months early. When I first started budgeting this way, I started in 2020, and the Budget Mom releases her workbook in October. Usually like September, you do a pre-order, and usually by October, I would have my workbook. Well, the first year I got my first workbook from her, I was too impatient to wait until January. So I started mine in October, and that cycle has just kind of perpetuated, obviously. So I could certainly keep the old one and add 2 months in. I say that every year, but I never do, because by the time October comes around, I'm excited and ready for the new binder. So I've got some pieces here. We're gonna go ahead and set it up together. So I'll walk through this with you. If you've been with my channel for a long time, you've seen how I typically set these up. But if you're kind of new to this type of budgeting, one thing I want to say is I have lots of goodies and gadgets. You don't need all of this stuff. This is something that I enjoy, so I put money into it. But realistically, if you're new to budgeting and you're just kind of getting started, I would say keep it minimal. Figure out if this kind of style of budgeting is going to work for you. And then if you enjoy it and it's working, then you can kind of start adding stuff in. But let's go ahead and jump on in. So we're looking at my Don't Stop Believin' cover. We are going to use this one for the holidays, but let me show you guys really quick what our 2026 is going to look like. This is my new 2026 cover, you guys, in my budgeting era. So this is the inside, just pink polka dots, and the back looks the exact same. Both of these covers are from My Magpie Soul on Etsy. They're the ones I had on my budget binder last year with the stripes. So go check her out. She has tons of options. And I will be sure to link all the things in my description below. So if there's something here that I can link, I will link it for you guys. This will be for 2026, but we are going to start off with this one because how stinking cute is this? But I wanted to show you the other cover. Holiday season, so I'm excited to get this one back in. And this is the inside of this one, and I guess this is the front cover. They're both the same. Super cute. Okay, let me see how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kind of move this pile to the side really quick. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is start with our cover. And I use a big size for my budget planner. I know a lot of people use the classic size for Happy Planner. This is the same as a big Happy Planner would be. So if you're looking to match the size and you wanna go with Happy Planner, I go with the big. That's what matches this. All right, we're gonna pull out some discs. You guys, this is my Little Honeydukes Sweet Treats jar. I keep some of my discs in here if I can get it open. And I'm actually going to use these purple metal discs this year. So let me pull these out really quick. All right, you guys, I think I've got them all. So obviously the purple is gonna clash pretty bad with this cover. But when we bring in this one in January, February, it's gonna look gorgeous. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this one because the majority of the year will have this color. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and slip these discs on. These discs are from the Happy Planner. They are an expander disc size, so they're the largest size they make. And these ones are the metal. All right, actually, oh, sorry for the bump, y'all. Let me start up here. I don't know why I'm making this hard. These just clip right on in. You can find discs like this on Amazon. They're in all kinds of places, friends. So just gotta find ones that you like. Okay, we got them on one side. Let me go ahead and hook up the other side now. Guys, I couldn't have done that any more complicated than I chose to do it. Okay, so here's how it's looking with just the disc. You can see how massive these discs are. Now, when I first start the first quarter of the year, these things are kind of comically funny, but by the end of the year, it's like barely turning. So I really do truly need this size. And I'm not one that likes to switch them out mid-year, but you could certainly start with, let me show you what a regular size disc look like. This is a medium-sized disc, right? So it's like from this to this. So you can see there's quite a bit of difference there. Okay, so we have got the cover all ready to go. Actually gonna move the discs out of the way. Next thing we're gonna go ahead and add in here are, let me see actually, and I'll tell you. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in this pile of stuff. Some of this is I'm gonna bring over from my last budget book because I'm still working on those papers. So I wanna move them back into this book. But the next thing I would normally do is put in these dividers. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop in, this one is just a blank divider. I cannot remember the name of the Etsy shop that I got these from, but like I said, everything will be linked down below, friends. So I'm gonna put this first cover in to start, and then I'm gonna bring in my 2025 goals because we are gonna still need to use that to access here in December when we take a look to see how we did for our goals for the year, that sort of thing. So we're gonna bring that back in. I'm still, you know, working on my emergency fund, so that's coming back in for 2025. So we're gonna put this in and then we'll be replacing with 2026. Okay, so this doodle goes with that. So let's put that in too. So right now I'm just kind of bringing over the things that I still need to carry over through December from the old book. Okay. Then I get into like my debt section of things. So I have another just blank divider for that so that I kind of keep those things sectioned off, if you will. I don't know a better way to say that, you guys. So let me slip this on. Lots of punching and pushing. Okay, then I'm gonna bring over all of my debt trackers because we are gonna follow these all through to the end of the year. So this is all those debt pages that you guys have been seeing me work on in my debt updates. Let me see, a lot of this is cardstock. This might be a little thick to add in at one time, but let's try it and hopefully I don't tear all the pages up. Oh, it's falling. It's going bad quick here, you guys. I definitely should have split that up. All right, let's see here. Just make sure everything got on and survived. Okay. If you're working with like new metal discs, you guys, sometimes they can be really tough to turn pages on. And somebody left me a tip a few years ago when I was setting a binder up to rub a like towel or microfiber cloth around the discs, and that'll make them smooth and things will go faster. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and put in these same dividers, but you'll see these ones have the months. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these all in. So like I said, my budget book always goes through October. So my new budget binder always starts in November. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in November, December, and January here. And pop these on. Okay, next up is gonna be February. And then the other thing I did was went through, when I was pulling my covers out, is I went through and any excess trackers like this that maybe I didn't use for the month, I'm gonna go ahead and pull them in here just so I don't waste. And that's one less February tracker that I'll have to print this year when the time comes to do so. So we'll slide that in, and I'm just gonna go ahead and speed you up. I'm gonna go ahead and just put in the rest of the year and the rest of those excess pages here, you guys. So I'll speed you up for this part. All right, friends, let's bring it back. So here we are so far. It's already thickening up very nicely. I haven't even gotten my budget sheets in here. So I have kind of an emergency fund tracker because I try to build on my emergency fund every year. So that usually starts us off with my goals, my kind of debt tracking section. So I have all my debt trackers in here. And then we start November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, all the way through October. So we've got the bones put in here. So the next thing I'm going to do is put in some of the budget sheets. I'm just going to go ahead and start with November, December, and January. So the first 3 months. And let's move this to the side because I'm going to hole punch some things here. Also, I am going to put in like my new debt tracking sheets, and I'll go through those with you guys so you can see what those kind of look like, that sort of thing. All right, so let me see here, you guys. Let me get this all together. Okay, so let's pull these in. I'm gonna actually open this back up. We're gonna go ahead and flip to November to start. One thing I like to also do is every year I print out a payday calendar for my job. The 2026 one is not yet available, so I am gonna bring over the 2025 one. I also have this tracking sheet, which let me show you if I can find it. You guys, we've got papers everywhere. I am a mess here. Okay, so I have this bill tracker that I purchased from Mindful Hustle Plan. So it looks like this when it's all blank, and this is how it looks like. I'll go through and set up all of my bills. I'll list them all out, the due dates, the amounts, if they're on auto pay or not, and then each month these get paid. I will put a dot. Where you see something without a dot, it's an account that got paid off this year. So I like this little visual tracker, plus it's just a fun way to also use like the dot markers. So I usually just move these each month to whatever month I'm working on. So we're gonna go ahead and move this in with our November budget. And this new one, since I've got to set it up, we will stick it to the front of the binder. All right, the next thing you're gonna need if you use the disc bound system like I am here, you need to have a punch for it. There's a lot of different ones out there. I just have the Happy Planner punch, which in all reality, friends, it's not the best one, if I'm being honest. It does not punch a lot of papers. Like this is 2 pieces of cardstock, and that might even be a little much for this thing. Let's give it a try. Okay, that worked out okay, but realistically, you're going to be able to punch just a few pages at a time, really. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, and just pop these up in the front of my binder for now, just as a reminder to go ahead and fill that out for 2026. All right, let's go ahead and flip back over to November. So, whoops, and I put these in the wrong spot. Let me get those out. They gotta go behind the divider, Stephanie. Okay, let's pop these back in. Okay, now for the budget workbook itself, like my budgeting pages, I am going to continue to use the Budget Mom printable workbook. I have like the very OG one. I thought about purchasing the newest version, but I just decided, you know, I'm just gonna stick with what I have. It's basically the same thing. So I'm not using really anything out of it other than the budget pages and the expense trackers, and those basically look the same. So, you know, if I was using the monthly calendars from her book or something like that, then I might consider an upgrade just so there's some change in variety there. But since I've been making my own monthly calendars, I decided to skip it. Okay, so we're looking at November. Like I said, for the monthly calendars, in the past, what I used to do is I would purchase a big happy planner that I liked, and I would use that cover, and I would use the calendar pages from the happy planner. Well, I didn't find a happy planner that I liked last year, so that is when I decided I shopped around for covers, and then I decided to start making my own budget calendars so I can design the fronts myself. And so I'm going to continue to do that. And this has to be punched this way. All right, so this is November. We've got fall leaves and just this cute little fall sign here. All right, again, you guys, that's 2 pieces of cardstock, and that hurt the heck out of my wrist. Like this punch, it doesn't handle much. So we're gonna go ahead and pop in November. So it looks like this now. We've got our little divider, and we've got this. You guys remember last year I tried to order some little sticky tabs? Oh my, they didn't even make it through the video. Didn't even make it through the video. All right, and then I have my budget sheets for November. So we're paid bi-weekly. So I do a budget every 2 weeks. So we'll have 2 paychecks in November. So I've got 2 of these. What am I trying to say? These budgets, I guess. I don't know, you guys. I'm losing words here. So I've got 2 of these. And then I'm going to have expense reports. Or trackers. So I usually do a full tracker for each pay period for my checking, where I pay bills and that sort of thing. And then I usually do a 3rd set for my cash envelopes so that I'm tracking what's coming out of there. So I'm going to kind of line these up so that they're punched on the correct side. You want to make sure that you are punching the correct side here. Wait a minute, which I am not doing. That one. What the heck, people? Okay. What is going on? Okay. I need to punch it this way. Good gracious, y'all. Okay, and then put these together. Also punch that way, and put these together and punch that way. You can print these double-sided. You'll notice that I choose to not do that for mine. See, this is 6 pages and it's fussing at me, you guys. So we're gonna divvy this up. So let's go ahead and punch that, and then we'll do these 3. Okay. I might edit out that punching sound. I'll see in editing how that's going. All right, I choose not to do mine double-sided because I use the highlighter method, and I don't like it to like seep through. And for my calendars, you guys, I use a 110-pound cardstock for the calendars. And then for the budget worksheet pages, I use a 24-pound paper. So it's a little heavier than just your standard copy paper, which I like a lot more. You'll notice I didn't print out like the cash breakdowns. I haven't been using those in the last few months in my current binder. So I went ahead and just left those out. That's the nice thing about the printable version, is you can add in what you want, take out what you don't, and then if later on in the year you want to add something back in, you just print it and pop it back in your book. Okay, this last page is a little tracker I made for myself to kind of keep track of, you know, my stuffs on a budget thing. So like my Etsy, YouTube, memberships, that sort of thing. So that's kind of my budget sheet for that. So that's gonna go in for each month. And then we are in December, so we're gonna do the exact same. Guys, these pages right here, they're going to haunt me because I keep seeming to have to take them in and out. They normally live behind my budget calendar, just like this. So once again, Let me move them. And thank goodness these pages are coming to an end because I am tearing up those edges by pulling them in and out like that. Okay, so that is what the month looks like for me. So you're gonna see December and January are going to be the exact same. So this is my December calendar that I designed. How freaking cute is it, you guys? We got Disney gingerbread cookies. So again, we have our monthly calendar, and then we're gonna have the 2 budget sheets. Now, I had some extra December pages. This was one of them, so I went ahead and brought those over just in case. And then I have my expense tracker. So a few more pages in December, and then I will end it with my Stuffs on a Budget. So let me go ahead and speed you up while I punch in so that's December. And then we're gonna do the exact same for January. And let me show you my cute January month. You guys, I love it so stinking much. Isn't he cute? The cutest little Yeti. And then my calendar looks the same on the inside. I leave it undated because I like to sticker it. You could, I could certainly add the date in there for efficiency. And then of course the budget pages are gonna be the exact same, friends. So I don't need to walk you through that bit again. Let me go ahead and get these all punched in and in my book, and we will look at what's next, okay? All right, friends, there we go. We've got all of November, December, and January ready to go as far as our budgeting worksheets go. So the next thing we're going to do, you guys look, it's already getting like super fat, super fat. The next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and add in our like trackers for 2026. So most of these I designed myself, so I did some updates. You can kind of see last year I went like with for my emergency fund tracker, I went with Harry Potter. Now this sheet is not mine, this one is. And then for debt, I just kind of went, I don't know, just hodgepodge on the debt. Okay, but we're gonna go ahead and put in our emergency fund because like I said, every year I like to grow the emergency fund if we can. So I've designed a new tracker, and of course I was feeling very Disney with it this year, you guys. So this is the, why does this one, oh, I think because I just printed full page. So this one is my emergency fund tracker. We've got like the blue Mickey heads with stars. I thought that was super cute and fun. So we're gonna go ahead and punch this one. And then, when we get closer to 2026, we're gonna start, we'll do a recap of the goals for 2025, and then we'll look at what the goals for 2026 are gonna be. So I've printed a new doodle tracker, and I went with the Disney doodle. Again, this is another tracker from Debt Free Charts, just like the Harry Potter one was. So I thought that fit in nicely. So those are gonna be what we use for our 2026 emergency fund growth, you guys. Super cute, I love them. I went with the printer paper on this instead of cardstock. We'll see if I like that. I definitely always use cardstock for coloring pages though, you guys, just to limit the bleed, right? Okay, for 2026 for our debt, we're gonna have much of the same pages. So I'm gonna have a overall debt picture. We're gonna have a debt tracker, and then our debt snowball, and then our annual debt. So these we are still working on for 2025. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip those over, and I'm gonna put the 2026 trackers to the back. And let me show you what these look like, you guys. I also went with Disney. So here is that same overall debt picture for 2026. I've just updated it for Disney this year. Super cute. So once 2025 closes out, we'll be able to make a list of what our starting debts will be going into 2026. So there's that. Disney snacks, so cute. Okay, and then what usually comes next after this is I'll have a debt tracker for whatever the current debt is that we're working on. Now, this won't necessarily reset in 2026 because it'll just depend on where we're at with the current debt, right? We'll keep the debt tracker, like, let me show you so it makes more sense. So this is our current debt tracker for the debt snowball we're working on right now. So this will stay in here until this is completed, and then we'll bring in a new one, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and just put in the new one, but this is my plan. This tracker is from my Etsy shop. So this is my tracker. This is my tracker, just because I know you guys will ask, which is awesome. This one is my tracker, and this one is from Debt Free Charts, okay? And again, I'll have everything linked down below as best I can for you guys, okay? So we've got this one. We're gonna do this debt tracker, and then for the next debt, I think we're gonna work on, I've opted to use this coloring page. So I always like to have a numbers tracker and a coloring tracker. I love the two different visuals that they give you. So what I mean by that is, if we, again, flip back here, right, we have the numbers information, which is amazing to have, but then I can also look at this visually and say, oh my gosh, look how much of this debt we have knocked out, and we only have this little chunk left, right? So that's what I mean by I like the both of them, but this is gonna be the plan for the next one whenever that happens. So we're gonna pop that in there. Okay, and then if we flip through the debt section, the next thing we have is this debt snowball tracker. Again, I can't remember the name of this Etsy shop either, but it will be linked down below. It looks like this. So I want to show you guys something, okay? I'm going to use the same tracker because I really couldn't find one. I just went ahead and basically like updated from the flowers to my Disney design. This will not be available in my Etsy shop because it's not my design, you guys. I'm just using it for me, and I just updated the background. So I wouldn't want to use somebody else's design, if that makes sense, right? This is theirs. But okay to modify for myself only. So it's the same tracker. We'll look at the whole year. I've just changed the background image to kind of go with our theme for 2026, which is this one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this in behind there. Okay. All right, and then the last thing we're gonna have is my annual debt tracker. This is my sheet, and I will have it available. This one is the Disney design. There is a current, this is what the current one looks like. And then I have just updated the same one. When you purchase from my shop, it doesn't say the year, you guys. It just says annual because I would want you to be able to use it over and over. I update mine because I can easily do that, right? So instead of like the pastel colors, we've got, again, the Disney theme, which I'm loving. And then I just happen to have an extra debt tracker. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that in there as well. Okay. When you're printing, you guys, I want to show you something. If you notice how this one has like the white border on it and then this one doesn't, the difference in that is if you just downloaded this form and printed it, it's going to look like this. If you want it to look like this where it goes all the way to the edge of the page, you have to change your page style from like US letter to US letter borderless or something like that, I think it says. And that's what the difference is. So that's how I get rid of the edges. And sometimes I forget to do that like I did last year. So I just left it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pop this in, and we'll start these for 2026 after we, you know, complete that other year out. But you guys, that's it. Let's take a look at it. She's a beaut already. I'm super excited. We needed to get this up and running because November for me is gonna be in here, and in a couple of days, we're gonna have a budget with me as well. So, okay, cute. We're all ready and festive for the holiday. I think this goes good for Halloween, Thanksgiving, all the way through Christmas. And then of course, again, the discs look a little odd, but once we switch the covers, we'll be good to go. So I like my bill tracker. We'll have a blank one of those. We're still bringing over our 2025 goals, debt, all that stuff. Plus we've added the new. And then we have our months all ready to go as far as all of our trackers, calendars for November, December, and January. And as the year progresses, I'll add in more and more months, you guys. All right, yay, that was so fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I have been, like I said, just dying to do this video, and I'm so glad we finally got there. Oh, actually, let me really quick, I've got some other things. I've got all these little bookmarks. So what I'm gonna do is put these in really fast, because I'm gonna need these if I can get my hands on them. Okay, I like to put one here for our debt. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably use this guy, since this is all like the Disney themed stuff, right? So let's pop this in there. I think I might have put that in the wrong spot. Usually I just have it right in the front there, but that'll work. Okay, so that'll take us to the current debt. Let's flip to November, because we're gonna start this budget here really soon. So I always put, this is a picture my youngest drew a couple years ago, and I laminated it to keep it beautiful and safe. It always goes with my budget, as does this little guy that breaks down my pay periods and my subscriptions for a quick little cheat sheet. So I'll be redoing this as we get into 2026, where I will take a look at how I want to set up my months for the budget. So those go there. And then I always have my Harry Potter tracker right here for my words, you guys. I'm running out of steam for my checking expense account. And then I put a second one in here, which we'll use this one for my cash envelope tracking. So we'll go ahead and pop that in there. And that one is a bonus. So, okay, now we've got all the doodads in there. We are officially ready to go. So thank you, friends, for joining me for another setup. I hope you found this helpful, what to look for. And like I said, if you're just starting, there's a lot of fancy things in here, you guys. A simple, you know, 3-ring or a spiral bound notebook will suffice. Just over time, these are things that I've created for myself and others, implemented other people's trackers because they work so well with my budget, that sort of thing. But stay tuned this week, because we'll have a video where we set up our November calendar. And then of course, we'll be setting up our paycheck budget that's coming up Friday as well. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me for another video. If you like this one, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button to stick around, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.